Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank and Wealth Management. I'm Harry Donahue, and today we're at Huntington Valley Country Club. You know, the name William Hyndman III is synonymous not only with Huntington Valley Country Club, but with great amateur golf, not only in the U.S., but on the world stage. Billy Hyndman was one of the greatest amateur golfers in Philadelphia, and also one of the great amateur golfers to represent the U.S. around the world. And for the last several years, his club, Huntington Valley, has hosted in his memory the William Hyndman III Golf Classic for members of the Philadelphia section of the PGA of America. We'll be back in just a moment to take a look at the Hyndman Room here at Huntington Valley. We'll speak to his grandson, William Hyndman V, and also a close friend of Billy Hyndman, who remembers what Bill Hyndman meant to golf, Philadelphia, and especially Huntington Valley. It's coming up next on Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank and Wealth Management. Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank. Susquehanna Bank, doing what counts. By PlayACGolf.com. Visit PlayACGolf.com to plan your Atlantic City golf getaway, where the play continues well into the night. By Club Champion, better fit, lower scores. Visit their Ballackinwood location. And by the Philadelphia Section PGA, experts in the game and business of golf.
Honey, what are all these cash rewards?
Stellar Checking with Smart Rewards. We earn cash on check card purchases and when we transfer money from our Stellar Checking into our savings account.
Cool. How should we spend them?
Stellar. Stellar.
Stellar!
Probably groceries.
Stellar Checking from Susquehanna Bank. Earn cash rewards whether you're spending or saving. Member FDIC.
Hi everyone, Ron Jaworski here. I just want to let you in on a little secret. Here, just outside of Atlantic City, you'll find some of the top-rated golf courses in the world. Imagine playing these championship courses during the day, then playing your hand at something else at night. Casinos, bars, clubs, shows. Atlantic City has something for all the ways you like to play. So pack your bags for the ultimate golf getaway. Do AC and play AC Golf. AC Golf, where the play continues well into the night.
Welcome back to Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank and Wealth Management. Today, we're taking a look at Huntington Valley Country Club hosting the William Hyndman III Golf Classic, an annual event for area pros in the Philadelphia section of the PGA. One of the participants today is no stranger to Huntington Valley. For years, he was the home professional here at Huntington Valley. His name is Jack Conley. In fact, one year, Jack was the low pro, but didn't have the low score in the tournament. That honor belonged to an amateur, William Hyndman III. Jack, in your long tenure at Huntington Valley, you probably knew Billy Hyndman as well as anybody. Tell me about Billy Hyndman, the man, first of all.
Billy Hyndman was a class act. He treated everybody the same, and toward the end, I got there in 73 as the assistant, and toward the end of his career, the thing that I enjoyed the most out of Bill is he would take young amateurs, young kids, juniors, out and play with them. And when you play with an icon, you always remember that. And he just treated the kids absolutely super and helped them with their game. And living on the 8th hole there, he would go right across, and you can find him most evenings chipping and putting. No wonder he was good.
He was sort of a perfectionist, too, when it came to golf.
Oh, perfectionist. I can remember the first year I was there, we had the suburban team matches, and he had cleaned some guy's clock 10 and 9. And walking off the 18th green toward our first tee, which is elevated, he just said, "Ken, you got a half an hour. I haven't hit a good shot all day." And I mean, he shot 64, and I could see the guy just ready to just nail him. But he was a perfectionist, and I can remember on the first hole, we had a tee designed just for Bill. And he would hit balls, and the caddy would be shagging and just kind of with a baseball glove, just picking them up, not running very far. And he was just a great guy.
And nationally, of course, he played on 5 Walker Cup teams. And there's one story involving Bobby Jones, who was the captain of one of those teams when they went over and played at St. Andrews.
Yeah, I know that Bucky and in the family, it may be in his Hall of Fame room over there, the Hyndman room, that Bobby Jones had written him a letter. And on the 17th hole, which is the road hole, He hit one of the greatest golf shots that Bobby Jones says he's ever seen, and when Mr. Jones says something like that, it sticks with you. And so Bill was a fierce competitor,
He was an amateur all his life, but he played 7 times in the Masters at Augusta. And I know you have a story that he relayed to you about playing one day with Tommy Bolt.
Yeah, he played with Tommy Bolton on the 12th hole. He makes a hole-in-one. Bolt doesn't say anything. Of course, Bill's excited, and the crowd's going wild. And as they were walking up to the green, Bill looked over to Tommy and said, "Tommy, what do you think of that shot?" And he said, "For God's sakes, Bill, it's got to go someplace." And that was Tommy Bolt. But I mean, he played. I can remember one funny incident at the club, and he had lost to somebody in the club championship that he shouldn't have on the 4th extra hole of the playoff. And the guy, of course, went up to get Bill's congratulations, and Bill just made the comment. He said, "You know, this is the most humiliating day of my golfing career."
Keeping it in perspective,
yeah, keeping it in perspective. You're not supposed to lose to Bill Hyndman.
How, when he got a little bit older, up in his years, did he still want to go out there and play competitively?
Not competitively. That's when he took the juniors out. He would come up in the late afternoon and make arrangements for some of the juniors, and we would help him get some of the kids. And he would take them out and just kind of give them a playing lesson every single day. And he did this with a bunch of young juniors, and they're all members now at Huntington Valley. So he kind of nurtured the juniors. And for that, he's a great man in my eyes.
Yeah, tough to replace the legacy of Billy Hyndman, huh?
It's impossible. It's impossible. You got very few of those people. So we were lucky.
Jeff Surrett is the executive director of the Philadelphia section of the PGA. Jeff, Huntington Valley, tough golf course for your crew out here today.
Yes, always a challenge. It's one of the best in the section, if not in the country. It's one that all of our guys mark on their calendar early on in the year to make sure that they're ready to play.
You know, you have how many events over the course of a year?
We have about 60.
And I would assume the William Hyndman III Golf Classic, just because of the association with one of Philadelphia's best golfers ever, albeit an amateur, has to be a little asterisk as far as you're concerned.
Most definitely. And Mr. Hyman's one of 5 non-PGA members. That's a honorary member of the Philadelphia Section PGA, and we're just honored to be able to have his name on the event. Obviously, it has a great connection with Huntington Valley, and you know, we'll be here as long as they have us, as they'll have us.
You know, and the interesting thing too about the history of this golf tournament is when he was still competing, he actually won it one year, and Jack Conley, who was then the host pro here at Huntington Valley, finished second. So how many amateurs come in here and win a golf tournament, especially one named after them?
It's fantastic. I'll tell you what, you know, Mr. Hyndman did most of his great play after his 40th birthday, and you know, that was just, you know, I'm sure that was a great feather in his own cap to come and win his own tournament. So, you know, having one of the most decorated amateurs in the country allow us to have his name on our event and come back here year after year is really something special.
How are things shaping up for the section?
It's been great. If we could dodge some weather. The weather's been brutal. Seems like we get rain at some point every day. This next stretch of weather is going to be crazy hot. So, you know, regardless of the weather, it's been a great season so far. Have seen some great play from, you know, some of our staple players, but also some new players as well. So it's been great. You know, our host facilities and all of our sponsors have just been fantastic, and hopefully we'll just, you know, finish strong here in the second half of the season. All
right, we'll keep it going, Jeff. Thanks for your sponsorship of Inside Golf every week. We look forward to getting out and seeing these guys, and I know our viewers enjoy seeing maybe the guys they know from around the pro shop coming out here and competing and try to do their best.
Absolutely, Harry. We really appreciate all the support. Thanks.
Among the early finishers, scores were running high, except for Mike Little, an assistant at Rolling Green. Well, Mike Little is our leader in the clubhouse right now. 1 under par, Mike, 69. Tell us about the round today.
Well, it was tough out there today. The conditions are great. The golf course is great. Pins are in some very difficult spots, especially going through 1, 2, and 3. Very difficult. Started out my round good with a nice birdie on 1, and just kind of got things rolling from there. I ended up birdieing 4 and 5, and then then kind of stumbled on my way in around 8 and 9. But then got back together on the back 9, made a nice eagle on 15, and then just tried to par my way in from there.
Eagle on 15, huh? Tell us about that.
Well, had about 280 yards to the pin, and I know how the 15th hole you can land it about 30 yards short, let it run up to the pin, and I did that exact thing. Hit my hybrid out there, landed about 30 yards short, rolled up just right at the pin, and made my putt.
What's your record in section events? What's the highest you've finished before?
Tied for third 2 weeks ago at the Shawnee Open.
So you're on a roll.
I am. Last week I was tied for seventh at the Taylor Made Top 100. So, I'm playing well right now and feeling good about my game. And I was hoping I could come in today and put up a good number, and I did. So I'm just hoping that it stands.
Hope that it holds up.
A lot of good players out here, though. So, and a long afternoon. So.
Well, you've done your job. Now it's just a matter of time.
Exactly.
Little shot a 1 under par 69, and it got him into a playoff with Nick Iacono from Odessa National Golf Club. Iacono prevailed in the playoff, and Jack Conley, he shot a 71. Billy Hyndman would have been very proud. And when Inside Golf continues in just a moment, we'll talk to a man who learned the game of golf right here at Huntington Valley from his grandfather, William Hyndman III. That's next on Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank and Wealth Management.
In 1916, a small group of dedicated golfers decided to turn their passion into a business. And the PGA of America was born. Our plan was to teach golf and to run golf courses. But along the way, we learned we taught something much more valuable than a game. And we built something far more enduring than clubhouses or fairways. So now, after almost 100 years, we've come to realize that what we thought would be a success story has always been, and always will be, a love story. From the 28,000 dedicated professionals at the PGA of America to the 27 million men, women, and children who share the passion that is our business. Thank you.
Welcome back to Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank and Wealth Management. A year ago, Huntington Valley Country Club dedicated the William Hyndman III Room. It's a potpourri of golf memorabilia, all kinds of awards and letters and accolades dedicated in the memory of one of the Philadelphia area's most illustrious amateurs, Billy Hyndman. Just off the main entrance to the lobby of the Huntington Valley Country Club clubhouse is a virtual Hall of Fame, a tribute to the club's most famed member. When you look back at the career of Bill Hyndman III, you discover it began with his high school days at Jenkintown High. What followed was a multi-decade standing as one of the top national and international figures in amateur golf. Billy Hyndman III made several appearances in the U.S. Amateur and the U.S. Senior Amateur, as well as the British Amateur Golf Tournament. He was named to 5 different Walker Cup teams, participating in the competition between the best amateurs from the U.S. and their counterparts from Great Britain and Ireland. But it was here at Huntington Valley that Billy Hyndman called home, and where he'll be remembered and admired forever. One of Bill Hyndman's finer moments occurred in 1958. It was during the World Amateur Team Championship being played that year at St. Andrews in Scotland, and it featured the infamous road hole and Bill Hyndman's second shot on number 17. The captain of that team was Bobby Jones. He watched as Billy hit a 4-iron to within 6 feet and made the putt, and it gave the U.S. a tie with Australia. Later, he wrote to Hyndman saying it was one of the greatest shots he had ever seen. Another story on the walls of the Hyndman room involves Ben Hogan, one of Hyndman's 7 Masters appearances, in which he said, when told he would be playing with Billy, Hogan said if he had to play with an amateur, he'd want it to be Billy Hyndman. Bill, give me your first recollections of your grandfather.
First recollections of my grandfather are probably on the golf course. Going over for dinner to be with my grandparents on the 8th green at Huntington Valley, and we would go out and putt. He had some original clubs that he used as a kid that became my clubs, and he pulled them out of the attic, and we would go over and putt on the 8th green, which ended up being our ritual whenever we would go over for dinner, which was quite often at my grandparents' house.
I know he was a perfectionist. What was he pretty good teacher? I mean, was he patient with somebody like yourself who was just starting the game?
He was a good teacher, and I would say he was patient. But I think his perfectionism ended up, really demanding to make those improvements, and he would stay on it until he would get it to where he was happy with the results.
How much did he talk about himself and all his accomplishments in golf?
That's a good question, Harry. It's very seldom. For him, it was just about playing golf and the current round that he was playing. That's all he wanted to talk about, and very modest. Really didn't talk much about anything that he had accomplished, because for him it was just about enjoying the game of golf.
You come into this room here at Huntington Valley and look around at pictures of your grandfather with Bobby Jones, your grandfather with Ben Hogan, and all the Walker Cup mementos and the U.S. Amateurs and all that, the Masters tournaments. I mean, when did it hit you that your grandfather was something special?
That's a good question. I think when he won his U.S. Senior Amateur, when he won that, I was in high school. And becoming the oldest person to win a USGA event, I think that hit me, that, quite an accomplished player that he was. But I don't know if, most of our family members, to us, he was our granddad. And, not talking about himself, he was just a modest person. We learned more about him through other people, talking about his accomplishments or talking about matches that they played against him. And probably even more so with the creation of this room, I've learned a tremendous amount about him, about other family members, his brother, who was quite an accomplished player.
Did you have any idea where all this came from? I mean, who was the collector of this? Who was the curator of all these mementos?
I guess it was my grandmother. She kept great keep of most of this, but a lot of this we had never seen before, at least I had never seen before. So she kept everything, and we're just happy that it's in this room, because I think that it's a great story for people. Hopefully it's a great inspiration for people, because the majority of all of his accomplishments were after the age of 40. All of his Walker Cups were after the age of 40, and his USGA senior events were after, obviously, the age of 40. And he had a lot of success, up until into his 70s.
Did you ever ask him, or did you ever hear why he never turned professional?
Well, that was actually pretty easy. He had 4 kids and wasn't able to support them.
It was a different day back in those days.
It really was. He didn't time it right, but I think he was happy with what he did in business and was able to still be able to play golf and enjoy the great game of golf and make a nice living for himself.
What do you think of all the things he accomplished? Is there one thing that you think really stood out to your grandfather of what he did in the game of golf?
Well, I don't think it was really an accomplishment. I think that it was an example that he set as a person, and I think that the type of person that he was, the respect that he had as a competitor and as an individual, I think is really his greatest accomplishment.
Do you ever go any places around the country, around the world, and when they hear your name, Bill Hyndman, automatically it triggers something?
Yeah, there's quite a few people that I've run into that have played in golf tournaments with him, and even if it was 50 years ago, guys that played with him, whether it was Tom Watson or Tom Kite, there's some pretty accomplished guys that are now into their senior years that played with him as 20-year-olds.
Well, you're Bill Hyndman the 5th, and I have to ask you, is there a Bill Hyndman the 6th?
There is a 6th. So there's Liam Hyndman, he's the 6th, and he's a 7-year-old aspiring golfer.
Okay, so someday he'll be standing in your shoes, looking back at his great-grandfather and saying, wow, he was a special guy.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're lucky to have a great legacy, and we all enjoy playing golf to continue to enjoy this great game.
Well, thanks a lot, Bill, for joining us and having us.
Thank you, Harry.
Local golfers playing on the Walker Cup team, you'd have almost half the team as working golfers.
Hi everyone, Ron Jaworski here. I just want to let you in on a little secret. Here, just outside of Atlantic City, you'll find some of the top-rated golf courses in the world. Imagine playing these championship courses during the day, then playing your hand at something else at night. Casinos, bars, clubs, shows. Atlantic City has something for all the ways you like to play. So pack your bags for the ultimate golf getaway. Do AC and play AC Golf. AC Golf, where the play continues well into the night.
When you step out, make sure you go all in. Because at Valley Forge Casino Resort, we're rolling out the action. bring it all to the table. So take us for a spin and go all in for the win. Valley Forge Casino Resort. It's safe, it's chic, and only a shuffle away from the main line.
Guests of Teed Off receive gift certificates to any of the 8 restaurants at Valley Forge Casino at King of Prussia.
Money, but it's the backbone of the game are the career aim.
Welcome back. Inside Golf continues with Teed Off, and today we're at the Valley Forge Casino Resort, specifically Pacific Prime Restaurant. It's one of 2 that Chef Tony Clark is involved with here, Pacific Prime, and of course Viviano's. It's one of 8 restaurants here at the complex, the Valley Forge Casino Resort. All right, our panel today on Teed Off includes Joe Logan. Joe is with myphillygolf.com. Michael McDermott is the reigning Philadelphia Amateur Golf Champion, one of 2 Philadelphia Amateurs that he has won. He's also with the Philadelphia Group. And from 97.5, the Fanatic, Mr. Harry Mays holding down the fort on the Fanatic from 10 until noon on weekdays. Michael, as an astute follower of amateur golf, the Walker Cup, I'm sure, is one of your favorite competitions, even though you've never been a member of the Walker Cup. But it was at your club, Merion, back in, what, 09? 09. And it's going to be played this year in the States. But a little bit of tweaking's been done in terms of the roster. The last few years, we've seen it been mainly a kind of a springboard for a lot of great amateur golfers, young guys that haven't even completed college, to say goodbye to amateur golf and jump right onto the PGA Tour. But this year, the USGA has done something to at least allow maybe fellows a little bit older than that to get involved.
Yeah, back in the days of Buddy Marucci, Jay Siegel, and some of our local golfers playing on the Walker Cup team, you'd have almost half the team as working golfers. And I know the USGA liked that because it was sort of a leadership element to some of the guys like Tiger Woods that would turn pro soon after. Post Tiger Woods, the entire team became young golfers, college players, the Ricky Fowlers who turned pro the day after and signed a big endorsement contract the next day. What the USGA did, mandating 2 mid-ams, is really great. It's going to add a new element to the team. As a mid-am myself, the entire community of working golfers across the country that could potentially make the team have really been reinvigorated, because you have people now saying, I'm not as good as Tiger Woods or all the college guys, but I could get one of those 2 spots. And it's really, it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how that shakes out come the fall when they pick those 2. It's a life-changing nod if you get it.
Yeah. Joe, do you like the idea?
I do. A definition for someone who might not follow the game as closely as Michael. A mid-am is someone who is 25 years and older. The theory being that if you're going to turn pro in this game, it's probably going to be before you hit 25. Right. So if you are a 25-year-old amateur, you're what they call a career amateur, and you're going to stay an amateur. You're going to continue to play the amateur game, a la Michael here. And there's just less and less of that. I mean, there's so much money in the game now. You have guys turning pro just because they can sniff money. But it's the backbone of the game are the career AMs. They're just fewer and further between. And this is a reward to guys like that, like Nathan Smith, and people like Michael, who stick with the game and continue to have kids and hold down day jobs and yet still be very good at the game.
You know, Harry, it's almost like a throwback the way, go back to the days of Bobby Jones, and you talk about career amateurs of his ilk. And, at the time, professional golfers, especially, maybe not your country club pros, but the guys like Walter Hagen who were playing regularly, they were going around the country almost being looked at with disdain.
They were
because
sort
they
of like
were
second-class citizens in the game of golf back then.
The purity of the game was almost being spoiled by tour players.
Taking money.
Yeah, so you see this as maybe a sort of a throwback to that era of golf when maybe amateurs had a little bit more of a higher standing.
Yeah, I actually kind of like the idea, to sort of bring more of a focus and more of an emphasis back on true amateurism within the game.
Do you have any daydreams of trying out for
I mean, daydreams. I do daydream about it, yeah.
Who's going to make the decision, Michael, as to who will be involved,
It's
at least
sort of
those 2?
It's sort of a deep, dark committee in the USGA. I think the captain does a lot of homework. The captain this year is Jim Holtgreave, who was a former player back in about 15 years ago. And he was a great player. He knows the player, so he'll be scouting all year the various potential players. But the USGA ultimately has that decision, and Who makes it? I don't know. You know, one of our Philadelphians, Dan Burton, is involved, so he's probably involved. But they'll do their homework. They'll get it right.
Who stirred the original?
Yeah, who put the pressure on him to do it? Do you know?
I don't know. I had a conversation with some people after the announcement, and we were saying what a great thing we thought it was. Whoever gets the spots in the future, that it's really the spirit of the competition that's really been brought back. And I don't know what stirred it. I think they just realized that the tournament, the event began to get away a little bit into becoming a almost minor league pro event. And to get a few amateurs at least mandated, mid-amateurs, really brings it back to the spirit of what it was supposed to be.
That's the latest changes with the Walker Cup. I want to thank Joe Logan, Michael McDermott, and of course Harry Mays for joining us here today on Teed Off. And we'll be back more on Inside Golf in a moment. The Valley Forge Casino Resort is the region's only full amenity gaming resort, and it's only seconds from the Pennsylvania Turnpike at King of Prussia. It features 600 slots, 50 table games, plus 8 restaurants designed to meet all of your dining needs. So put the beautiful Valley Forge Casino Resort on your destination list.
Valley Forge Casino Resort, we're rolling out the action. And we'll bring it all to the table. Valley Forge Casino Resort. It's safe, it's chic, and only a shuffle away from the main line.
At this moment, across the country, families are packing their bags for a getaway. And no matter where they end up, they'll all be home by dinner. Plan your own at playgolfamerica.com. From finding fun and affordable programs to finding advice from PGA and LPGA professionals, playgolfamerica.com has a way for you to get away. Visit today for details. playgolfamerica.com, your link to the game.
Free enterprise is the engine that drives our economy. Everyday businesses, big and small, work to make life better for their customers and a better life for themselves. Susquehanna knows successful businesses need a strong financial partner, someone who can help keep your business running at peak efficiency. The people of Susquehanna Bank, doing what counts for businesses like yours. Member FDIC.
That is going to do it for this week's edition of Inside Golf. Hope you enjoyed our look back at the life of William Hyndman III, and also talking to his grandson, William Hyndman V, and a look around at Huntington Valley and the William Hyndman III Golf Classic, the 2013 edition. I'm Harry Donahue. See you next time on Inside Golf, and remember, no matter how bad it's going for you out there, don't pick up. See you next week on Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank and Wealth Management. Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank. Susquehanna Bank, doing what counts. By PlayACGolf.com. Visit PlayACGolf.com to plan your Atlantic City golf getaway, where the play continues well into the night. By Club Champion, better fit, lower scores. Visit their Bala-Cynwyd location. And by the Philadelphia Section PGA, experts in the game and business of golf.